with FPL and the electrician. So we're trying to move that up if we can, but that's tentatively set for June 1st. They need to shut the building down for about 6 hours, so we're doing that on a Saturday. We had our special meeting last week on the solid waste and recycling. If you recall, we had a consultant, Kessler and Associates, that helped us with that project. You had originally approved $30,000 for that study, and we came back and we revisited that, and you asked us to set a not to exceed of $20,000. Keith and I worked very closely with them in order to keep that down, and the final number at this point looks like 18.4. Wow. So we were able to keep that within. We had some good savings in that contract, and as well with the consultant study as part of that. And the only other thing, I have one other item which I'm going to pass down to you. Students from West Broward High School would like to do a demonstration garden here at Town Hall. And this was something that called Project Primal. It's something they want to take out into the community to spread healthful food and nutrition awareness. And they had come and spoken to the Parks Board back in September, and the Parks Board at that point voted for approval on this and recommended the council move forward with this. And it kind of sat with the students at that point because the students are funding this, and they were raising their money. Now that they're into the school year, they decided they're in a hurry and they'd like to get it done. This is something that would be in the backyard behind Town Hall. And should you give your consent for them to move forward with that this evening, I've been told this will be in place before the June 13th meeting. So we'll be able to have a little viewing in the garden. And I know December has worked very closely with them, and she's available for any questions you have beyond that.
Get her done.
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, and that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, that concludes administration comments. Item number 11, discussion item, and I know, Freddie, you're looking forward to this one, fishing hole update. Andy, and December.
Yeah, I just want to remind the council that I have meetings every other week with Willie from an engineering standpoint, with Emily from the grant standpoint, and December from the park standpoint on Fishing Hole Park, all the different aspects of it, in order to keep us moving forward. And so this has been, parts of Fishing Hole Park have come up in conversation over the last couple of meetings. And at the last meeting, I said to you that we'd come in and give you kind of an update overall on the big picture. We do have a couple items ahead on the agenda which you're aware of, but I wanted to give you a bigger picture awareness of where we are with progress over at the park. And so Willie happens to be out of town, and Emily's out of town, so poor December has drawn the short straw, and she's going to come up and kind of lead you through where we are with different aspects on this project as we go forward. So I know this is an update you've been waiting for. I know the public's been waiting for it, so we look forward to sharing the information with you.
Let's see, can I do this in 4 sentences or less? I don't think so, but I'll try. I'm December Haynes, town staff, parks coordinator. Regarding the fishing hole, the plans are of top priority, and those are in final revisions. What we should see next week after Willie reviews the final revisions is a final and complete set of plans for the entire site concept and the earthwork, grading, drainage. After that, Willie expects to be able to go out for bid for the earthwork element, the site work element, and the drainage immediately, hoping to set it out to the marketplace within the month of May or early June with a deadline at the end of June. So we could be in construction in the summer, which is great. And that would affect, obviously, all of the things that we're going to develop there, the restroom, the pavilion, and the playground, as well as the fields. The base bid is going to include site work, earthwork, and drainage for the playground, restroom, pavilion, and he's also intended to put clearing as add alternates for the various open space fields. So we're hoping, that the prices will come in great and we can, get the whole thing done together. For the playground, you guys will be talking about that in a couple of moments. We've gone to the marketplace with the eye towards doing the cooperative purchasing through our government contracts that we share. And so we'll talk about that. But basically, we have 2 phases of grants that pay for the playground equipment. And the first phase of the grant has the shortest time left on its deadline. So it really needs to be completed by September 2013, September of this year, which is entirely possible. If we only did that phase, of course, we'd only be building a very small part of the playground. So the third phase of the grant, which doesn't have a deadline until February 2014, and potential extensions of 18 months after that, really, I guess it made sense to everybody to try to get it all done at once, and the Parks Board has selected the purveyor and the equipment. For the restroom and pavilion, these are affected by the Phase 2 grant, and the deadline for that is March 2014. However, we are quite aware that we should keep going on all of this development and get it all done as quickly as possible. Tonight you'll be talking about the item that Willie will be bringing before you for the architectural work for the restroom. If you'll remember, the advisory boards, the Rural Public Arts and the Recreation Advisory Boards got together and gave input on their preferences as far as the restroom and the pavilion. The restroom, we were looking at a prefab building. The costs came in kind of high. They decided to explore what it would cost to build a building, and they've explored a lot of different avenues with that. Now they've come back with, going back to the architects to sort of design specs for that building. The pavilion is a prefab structure chosen by the two advisory boards. We have all of their preferences, and we will probably come back to you. I haven't discussed it with Andy, but at any length, but we will probably come back to you with a similar proposal as the playground, which will be purchase, install, permitting, engineering, and everything directly through the manufacturer and the representative and their installer, because it's like a piece of playground equipment. As far as the gate and fencing, the purchase orders have been done for both of those items. Fencing for the Southwest 190th area. It's just going to basically close off that chain link area, and I believe there will be some temporary gates in place while the main gates are being built. And the main gates are, I believe, aluminum, welded aluminum that is meant to look like our regular town standard, which is the 3-rail tan colored fencing. So those will be in place for whenever we get a chance to maybe get some grant funding to fund the rest of the fencing to match. But both of the vendors that are working on those things, the fabrication of the gates and the installation of the fence, have been given notices to proceed. I spoke with the fence contractor today. He anticipates starting within the next 2 weeks, so we could see completion of at least closing that off within the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'm not sure exactly when that will be expected, but it's sometime within the next month we should see that area closed off. And we discussed a little bit about the trails, the equestrian trails. I know there's some residents in the community who have explored the trails a little bit with an eye towards seeing what they needed to do there. Some of the trail riders whose opinions that we know the most, they've vetted a lot of trails in the state, have said that at this point the conditions out there are okay. They compare to some, not the beautiful manicured equestrian park trails that are a nice hard surface, but so there may be a little softness out there on the south end of the trail in the wet season. Maybe we need to address that later on. Maybe that could be a potential project for volunteers if they want to come in with equipment. And also, Willie has designed a temporary or a shorter loop trail that will go around the developed area. So that will be on the plan as well. And it's just a potential so that the riders who come to the park will have a place to kind of go with their horses. Additionally, he's designed some trailer parking into the parking lot. So that's going to be included in the bid for development there as well. And as far as routine maintenance is concerned, we don't have it budgeted for this fiscal year. We knew we were going to develop this year and that we were going to need to maintain at some point, but we've managed to not have to do that for a long period. And we've been lucky with some of the council members and some of the volunteers in the community who have said that they'd help us with the routine maintenance until we get some sort of an arrangement in place. When the budget discussions continue, you guys will see a program modification that I've put forth that will address routine maintenance for fiscal year 14. And until then, I guess we'll make do with what we need to do. Finally, we did discuss some potential volunteer opportunities. Somebody from the Trail Riders who was out there gave a great suggestion about what to do with all those posts that we took out and surplused and that weren't really popular in the community. Maybe those can be used for the equestrian ring element whenever it's built, and instead of building a great big fence, you know, maybe lay them on the ground end to end and create a low barrier. And you know, so some ideas are out there as far as what volunteers might be able to do if we want them to and if they're willing to. So, any questions?
December, I do.
Yes, sir.
December, I was at the equestrian park with the chili cook-off, and that ring there that's an awful big ring. Would we need that big a ring at that park?
No, I think that the size of the ring that we're planning at the fishing hole park compares more to the smaller ring, so which is about, I think it's about 80,000 square feet. Am I?
Steve? One question, December. When does it open?
Well, each time that we conclude a grant and request our reimbursement, which the first phase grant will have to do some sort of an opening of the playground, for instance. We can't really open to the public the construction site, but we will need to, I guess, have an event there and have a little snack and let people play on the playground. When does it open? As soon as we can get it built. We can open it in phases. Whatever you guys deem is safe and appropriate, we're going to work towards. That's what we want to.
So from a, are there any minimum components that need to be in place before we open it?
I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. I would defer to Willie's opinion on what is safe, because there will be construction of the restroom and the pavilion even when the playground is complete. We're hoping that we'll be well underway by then, right? But I'm not really sure. So can we route pedestrian traffic around the construction area? I think we can, to let people go to the playground. The parking area could be considered done. So maybe we could have a partial opening. I don't know.
Okay. And the timing for the restroom and that facility, what is the timing for that piece of it?
The restroom, pavilion, and some of the amenities that go with it are currently working on a deadline of March 2014. That has the ability to be extended still another 6 months. So each of these 3 grants, they're the same grants in 3 phases. They have an 18 months extension allowable. The first grant that we're working on that is now September 11th is the deadline. That's the 18 months added to the original grant. We have extended the second one for the restroom and pavilion to March. We can extend that again out until the middle of the summer, basically, I guess September as well. But hopefully we won't have to. I mean, maybe we could be well underway or close to complete. The pavilion structure should be relatively easy.
Right.
So.
Andy, I think you know, my feeling is this, and it was kind of expressed at the last meeting when we were talking about the trail and everything out there, is the bottom line is we got to get this park open. I think once it gets open and people are using it, and we start seeing some of the benefit from it, then there'll be, you know, people will be more aware of it and be more excitement about it, and I think the whole thing will build in a positive way. And so I just think the effort needs to be on getting that open. I don't know what the minimum components are. I would say that if just my personal preference is that if the restrooms are, I think the pavilion kind of needs to be there as a place to, certainly the play area needs to be there. But you know, to me, I guess in my mind the park needs to be open by January 1st, 2014 is what I'm thinking. I don't know how many components we can get there. If Willie says we absolutely need to have the restroom component there in time, that doesn't sound like that's going to be there by January 1st. But I think we should explore to see what we need to do to get it there by January 1st. It's just one of those things that it's been slowly building for a long period of time. It's got some momentum behind it, and we just need to get it open so people can start using it. So the goal I would throw out there is January 1st, recognizing the fact that I don't know all the facts on how realistic that is, but I think that should be our goal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, any other question, comments while you have December? Very good, December, thank you. Okay, item number 12, Andy.
Yes, Mayor, this is, there's not a resolution here. We're just asking for a motion of approval to move forward with the architects on the design and for the restrooms, and have them sign off on the pavilions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, thank you. And let me, if I may just speak to it for just a moment. We had brought the architects in several months ago and had them work with the Rural Public Art Board and the Parks Board as well on some design components and some ideas and some conceptuals of what they were looking for. And we could have brought this forward sooner, but staff really, I'll say we made an effort to look at other opportunities beyond working